Hey everybody, this is Stan Wanglund and welcome to Just Thinking 2022. Today I think I have a really excellent and short video for you, based on Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. And if you've attended college or maybe even got some of this in high school or graduate school or something, in terms of if you're working and have to work in terms of a team or team management or something like that, you might get some of this stuff. But Maslow's hierarchy of needs is something which I think is sadly overlooked today and really explains a great deal of what's going on in our society in terms of this kind of hierarchy of needs perhaps not being met or being overlooked or being changed or being motivated by technology and changing culture, however you want to put it. But we're not looking at these things, I think, intelligently, and we're not really, when we see some of the problems that we have today, I think they can be answered by looking at Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. And let me give, what my concerns are. My concerns are I see increasing information about the isolation of human beings, alternate realities, polarized thinking, political divisiveness on such a broad scale that things cannot be done. World leaders, having different senses of reality as well as people in our own country. Uh, there's a tremendous lack of people that are paying attention to science and factual information, or people paying too much attention to that and not enough of humanistic or other observations they should be able to make by just looking at reality. Things like religion are down. Things like belief in institutions are down. Lots of people really don't care if there's autocratic governments versus more democratic governments. There's big questions about people wanting to be taken care of by the government, or the government regulating everything, and then other people just saying, hey, I want to be able to do my own thing. So what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of confusion out there, and I think a lot of it stems from even people's dating habits, even people's obsession with eating and being overweight, or wellness things, or experiences, or other things. There seems to be sometimes no rhyme nor reason for these type of things. And if we go back and we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we see that Maslow was a psychologist who was a humanistic psychologist, and actually his theory of needs was based on really good analysis of human behavior in terms of observational analysis of behaviors. And it was theoretical, and but also at the same time it had great elements of common sense to it, the way of organizing our human experience in one manner, not the only manner, but one manner of a global way of looking at how human beings operate, and how they operate best with the goal of self-actualizing or achieving your full potential, your creative activities, a career, whatever, those kinds of things. So it was this hierarchy of needs that started with very fundamental things, and then as one layer built upon the other, and then only a few layers, you get up to the higher levels. They support you. They become a foundation. And that's what I think people get very confused about today in trying to articulate. They're saying, the guardrails are off. Our foundations of society, there's divisiveness, polarization, tribalism, all these things. They're breaking down the bedrock, the pillars of development for healthy human beings. So take a couple of minutes and see if you don't agree. And you can shoot out right now and make your life a lot simpler. Have a better view of politics, a better view, I think, an improved view of reality, of the needs of your children, your spouse, anybody. If you understand, what are some of the things that human beings have in common in terms of a hierarchy of needs? The first one is their physiological needs. Maslow, like all good scientists, and as a biologist would say, you need your basic needs met first. And what are your basic needs? Well, you have safety needs, your security and your safety. You would think that's number one, right? But in Maslow's things, it's actually the next one up. The first one is your physiological needs. Now, everybody likes to watch these survival shows, dual survival, Naked and Afraid, whatever, where people are thrown in the wild. And you can see that this is true. People need food, they need water, they need warmth, they need rest. And all these preppers, all these things, nobody equates this to simple things like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is what people need. They need food, water, warmth, rest, a place to stay. They need a safe and secure environment. That's the second one up there, safety needs. So we have physiological needs, safety needs. Hey man, is this starting to, like, besides being common sense and not to have to do a 24-hour show here, does this start to make sense in terms of when you see some of the social issues, when people say, "Hey, we need more police here, this crime is out of control"? Well, when crime is out of control, when police can't do their job, there's no security and safety. The fundamental basic need of a community, of whether it's an ethnic community or whatever, it doesn't make any difference. Human beings basically require security and safety. And in order to enjoy that security and safety, they need to have three hots and a cot. That's your physiological needs. They need food, water, warmth, rest. So when they have no income, when there's crime in their area, when they live in inferior places and they don't have enough money to eat, or they don't have health care or things like that, basic needs are not being met. And if basic needs are not being met, safety needs are not being met. And it's the same if you're a student going into school, or you're a teacher and you say, "Hey, Jesus, people got to wear masks," or they don't have to wear masks, or they have to be vaccinated, or they don't have to be vaccinated. Teachers aren't trying to bust your chops. They're trying to have their safety and security needs met. They want to live to teach another day. And so do the kids and the parents who come in there and are going to the school. They have the same safety and security needs. You don't want people coming in with guns and rifles and all kinds of crazy stuff, or beating your kids up, or bullying people, or doing harmful things. And kids need to come into a school, for example, just using that model, where they have food in them. They have, a hot drink in the winter, something cool in the summer, that they get warmth and rest at home, and they're prepared to be educated. Okay? And so do groups of people. And when they don't get that, they become furious. They become angry. They become, polarized in their thinking. They don't see things realistically. They think they become paranoid. So if the police who were there, for example, to provide you with safety and security, are pulling you over and killing you, over a traffic light, or choking the shit out of you, or whatever, well, everything starts to break down. You may have your three hots and a cot, but you can't get to your job without worried about getting hurt. Or if you're a police officer, you expect the citizens to obey the law, or help you out, or be, considerate of you as a police officer, answer your questions, that are legal and everything else like that. I mean, it's pretty much common sense. Now, there's three other ones that are really quick: belongingness and love needs. Human beings require, regardless of the psychobabble and bullshit that you see, and people in the metaverse creating avatars instead of having human relationships with real human beings that smell and you can touch them and feel them, and they can hurt you and do all of the range of human emotions and needs that we have. Human beings have a need, or used to have a need, for belongingness and love needs, intimate relationship. And here's a radical idea: friends. It wasn't just doing this on a computer. It wasn't, buying imaginary products with imaginary money, eating things in an imaginary restaurant, and feeling very satisfied that you had a great time, doing things, or fighting imaginary wars, constant imaginary things. That's okay. And I'm not trying to pass judgment. These are human needs based on the history of mankind for tens of thousands of years. These are the things that, make human beings who they are, regardless of the time period that they're in. So intimate relationships, yeah, we may call it dating or marriage or, significant others or whatever. And I'm not saying everybody has to be married or, whatever, but cultures, develop these systems for a variety of reasons. One of them is they want people in the culture to continue the culture, and they want their physiological needs met, they want their safety needs met, and they want people to have, fundamentally intimate relationship and friends, and have a healthy, non-divisive culture. That's the ideal form of things. Do we have that now? No, because people are in la la land. They're in the metaverse. They're in, bullshit land. They're in chat, groups years ago or whatever crazy things. They're seeing things from a polarized, tribal manner where they see just what they want to see, and they're not developing these intimate relationships with one another, people who think differently, people in their community who may have different ideas. Those people are becoming not their friends, but their enemies. The last two are pretty straightforward. If you get the first three met, if you get your physiological needs met, your three hots and a cot, your safety needs are pretty much met, if you have a few friends and you have an intimate relationship, maybe with a parent, a brother, a sister, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a couple of people, you're doing all right as far as a human being. You'd be surprised how, when people say, how many friends does the average adult have? They really don't have 50,000 friends or 200 million followers. It's usually three or four. The same with kids when they're in school that are their really good friends. Sometimes even less at different points. Maybe a few more. They have acquaintances, but intimate relationships, on the small side. In general, that was what the studies used to show. Now, when you have those things and you're going to school, or you're not in school, but you're learning how to do productive things in your environment, or taking care of yourself, or accomplishing things, your esteem needs, how you view yourself, and how you think others view you, you develop a feeling of prestige and a feeling of accomplishment. You did something good. I know I have that in my life. I'm going to be 72. I mean, how much longer do I have to live? It can't be forever. It's pretty, limited right now compared to the vast majority of my years are behind me. Do I have a healthy self-esteem? Sure I do. I don't have any regrets about, what I've accomplished or what I've done for other people. Did I set out to do did I accomplish what I set out to do, to be a good person, to contribute to the world, to make it a better place? You bet your ass I did. And so did millions and billions of other people. Maybe you're a farmer and you're providing food for people. Maybe you're, delivering wood. Maybe you're doing whatever it is. Those are all great things. And if you like what you're doing and you have a feeling of accomplishment, you have good self-esteem. That's good. How can you do that when you're in a make-believe land, when you're set up to be divisive, when you're polarized, where you don't even know how to shake a person's hand? Or have you gone in the store lately and somebody's behind you for the past 10 or 15 years? I've noticed this. It's just something that infuriates me. And someone will stand there and go, and I'll turn around and I'll say to my wife, or I just kind of make it so it's overheard. I said, do we have like a plague of autism where people can't communicate? What were you trained at as a child? If someone was in front of you and you need to get through, you'd say, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, buddy, excuse me, sir, excuse me, my friend, can I please move around you? I mean, you were just being normally assertive. You were being polite. You were communicating to somebody. You had a healthy self-esteem. You weren't worried about somebody having a rage attack on you. Well, look at what happens if you beep a horn now. People are ready to jump out of their skin and shoot you. It's pretty insane. It's not an insult. Your horn is there for a reason, to alert people. You're not, just a little pop. People they're crazy. I'm not talking like an old guy. I mean, this has been going on forever. Or the stuff in the stores, or people not knowing how to communicate and become intimate with anybody. So your esteem needs are very important, and they follow from your psychological needs being met, this belongingness, and, that term love. Love is a verb. It means that you perform loving actions towards other people, and they do likewise to you. And if you get those four things, your physiological needs met, your safety needs, your belonging and love needs, and a little bit of esteem, not where you're the whole center of the universe. It all has to revolve around you, and you can't get any bad news, and you're triggered. And if somebody comes on the campus on a college and they have something different than you believe in, you've got to protest and cancel them out. All that bullshit, or creating make believe histories and making people feel guilty for being of one race or another, or any race, or one gender or age. All that nonsense that comes out there, that divisiveness, polarization, lack of humanity. But if you do the opposite, if you just kind of do the general stuff that Maslow talks about, you get a chance to get involved in the world with those friends, and you have a pretty good self-esteem so that you can, work or create things or create your own environment where you can achieve the creative things that you want to do. You can achieve your full potential, and you do what Maslow and the other humanistic psychologists talked about, this wonderful thing called self-actualizing. You self-actualize. You actually really do have a tremendous amount of control over your behavior and the outcomes of your behavior. You really can't control what you think. You can influence it. You can't control how you feel at all. By the time it happens, it's already happened. But you can influence it in different ways. What you can do is you can certainly check your perceptions so that they're accurate, and you have what they call volitional behaviors, things that you can do regardless of how you think or feel, because you choose to do them. So think about that in this world where you're just counting calories and running on the treadmill of life, and you're not going to work for that company, and and that company, they're all no good. They're wild capitalists. All that kind of stuff. Well, some of that's true in life. It's always been the case. But go back to these things. Go back to these things. If you're caught in the metaverse, if you're caught up too much on Facebook or something, or you're away from other human beings, maybe you got to get tight with other human beings. If you have no spiritual side of you at all, maybe you got to get right with with something. If you have a religious preference, or maybe you have to get right with some philosophical thing, or right with humanity, or right with the universe, or do something altruistic outside of you for the good of the whole. You get it? I hope so. This is what I hope I can bring to you on Just Thinking 2022. This is the benefit, hopefully, from thinking clearly as you get older. Some people become set in their ways. I'm not telling you to go backwards in time. I'm telling you to not throw out the baby with the bathwater with really good ideas. Things that, not are only scientifically sound, but they're morally sound. They're philosophically sound. Based on observation, they're sound. So, I want a few extra minutes, but we're under 20 minutes. It's a great show, I think, and I hope to talk about this again. Hey, listen, if you have any, if you like these kind of shows, like it, subscribe to the channel. I hope that you're doing that, and if you get a chance, and feel free to send a comment or anything else like that. The email address is in a link on my site. So thank you very much, and stay tuned for the next show. We'll have another interesting show, I hope, for you. Well, be careful if you're out there traveling in the snow in the Northeast. Be well. Bye-bye for now.